Guys, welcome to the Real Life Everything podcast. We're your hosts, Ebony Westwood
and Kristen Noel.
Here on the RLE pod, we dive into the real, relatable, and raw topics as we navigate adulthood and real life our dreams.
Our mission is to support women by encouraging authenticity, self-awareness, and celebrating all our real life wins and sisterhood along the way.
What are you real lifing today, Chris?
I'm real lifing everything. Let's get into it. Yes, okay, so I would love to introduce today's guest. She's actually my cousin, y'all, who I just met a few months ago. So I found it's kind of a funny story, but like I have family from Pittsburgh, and you will find out that Marrae is also from Pittsburgh. And I was like with my aunt, and she pulled up somebody's page, like I think her mom's page on Facebook, and she was like, "Oh, it looks like your cousin just moved to Maryland." And I was just like, "Wait, who?" And so she showed me her page or her Instagram, and I was like, "Okay, she looks cool. She looks popping." I saw that you had just moved to the DC area, so I was just like, "Let me reach out." And I didn't know how we were related. My aunt was just like, "Oh, our grandparents are cousins or something like that." I had no idea what was going on, but I was just like, let me slide in her DMs and say, "Hey, girl, I heard we're cousins, and I heard you just moved to DC, so let's link up." And that we did, and now here we are. So I just wanted to hear from Marrae here. Well, first I'm going to introduce y'all, but we're going to talk about her move and what she's up to now in the DMV.
Yes.
But yes, I would love for you guys to meet Marrae. Please introduce yourself and what you're up to.
Thank you. First and foremost, thank you for having me. And I'm Marrae, and I'm from Pittsburgh. I'm a real estate agent. I've been a real estate agent for 10 years. I started in PA, and I was bored. I always tell everybody, I was just bored. And then I have some friends out here that I visit frequently, and then I had a team reach out to me and say, "Hey, have you ever thought about moving to DC?" So I was like, "No."
Right.
No.
Not really. Can't say that I have.
My brother lived out here. He went to Georgetown. So, like,
Okay.
I was always out here. And I just never thought, like, moving to D.C. So, I thought about it for a hot second. And then I was like, yeah, no. And then when I went back home, because there were some classes I was taking out here, and I went back home, and I realized, like, I was super bored. Like, my life was, like, super, like, working out, and, like, super consistent, but I was like, I didn't have a social life. There wasn't a whole lot going on. So then I was like, you know what? Why not? So initially, I was supposed to move to Texas. I got my Texas license and everything.
Wow.
And then nothing was really pulling me there. I just wanted to move there. And then the team, like friends, the team, and in other like situations was just like, why not DC? So then it was like a quick transition. I mean, the conversation started in February. I was licensed by like April.
Wow.
And then I moved in July.
Wow, that was fast. And so for people who don't know, you are in real estate. Well, you did mention that, but just to reiterate, so you had to go through that process of getting licensed. You said you got licensed for Texas, and then you pivoted and got licensed for the DC area. So was that hard? Like, did you have to, what was that process like?
When you're licensed in certain states have reciprocity. So PA has reciprocity with Maryland. So all I had to do was get certified to get my license.
Okay.
So I didn't have to take a test or anything. I just had to make sure my license was in good standing.
Gotcha.
Pay some application fees, and I was licensed.
Okay.
In DC, I actually had to take the state exam. Whenever you get your real estate license, you take the national and the state. So national, you only take that one time. But any state, for the most part, that doesn't have reciprocity, then you have to take a test. And it wasn't hard. It was literally like fair housing, ethics, and property management. But the stuff I was studying was not on the test. It was common sense that was on the test for me. So I ended up passing it, and I'm licensed in PA, Maryland, and DC.
Okay. Ooh, come on, talk about it.
Yeah.
And we have a brand new real estate agent in the house as well. So I'm sure y'all will have some stuff to talk about.
Yes. I was sitting here as I'm listening to you. I'm like, the last time we did dinner. Was I even licensed then? I don't really
No,
remember.
I don't think
I
I
wasn't.
remember you saying that you were in the process of getting a license.
Yeah, well, girl, I got them things.
You got it.
I got them.
Hey.
So yes, I am licensed in the Maryland area. But like listening to you with, you know, like you were saying, some of the things you study for and some of the things I want to test, it kind of just brought me back some of my memories. And a lot of things I studied for were on the test, but there were a lot of things that we did not study that was on the test. The test can be very tricky. So just to reel it in, I'm very proud to hear that you have not one, not two, but 3 licenses, and you did it because as a woman who've experienced going through the testing phase, it almost took me out. And y'all gonna hear and see my story.
We're going to see the journey.
That thing almost took me out.
Look.
I tested 7 times to get my license. Yeah.
Look, hey, there are people that have taken the test several times. I took it 3 times. It's not like an easy. It's not an easy exam to pass.
It's not.
You have to study, and I mean, you have to really like focus, sit down, no cards, study.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I didn't have to do that with the state exam. The state exams are, you know, they're
Yeah.
smaller. But the national, it was tough. I failed it the first time and went back and passed it the second time, but I failed the state again twice. And I was like, I kept missing it by like 1 or 2 points. So
Yeah.
it was, like,
Yeah, and it's
big
that
experience.
part. It's like, oh my gosh, like 1 or 2 points. Really? Can you
That's
just
close.
give me my license?
Yeah.
But I'm very proud, very
Thank you.
proud, very
I was
proud.
licensed in North Carolina.
Oh my
I moved to
gosh.
Raleigh. At
Oh,
one
okay.
point, and I got licensed, and it was like the same situation. Like I was bored, and I moved down to Raleigh, and my cousin lived down there. So it's like, okay, so I took my real estate license, the state test, which was North Carolina was supposed to be the hardest exam.
Really?
The hardest.
And I want to get my license in North Carolina too.
But it wasn't that hard for me.
Wow. Okay.
Okay.
I mean, to me.
I think we need a buddy up.
Yes.
Because
Oh, she got the gems. She definitely got the gems for you.
Yeah, so anyway, I just, North Carolina was great. I lived in Raleigh, but it was just slower than Pittsburgh when I moved down there. So when I was visiting, I had a great time, but you have to also understand, like, when you move somewhere, it's different from visiting.
Oh, for sure.
You know, so
Yeah.
Say that again for my preteen in the back.
Where's she
when
trying to
you
go?
move somewhere, it's different from visiting. Because when you visit, you have a good time.
Yes.
And people around you are trying to help that you have a good time.
Yeah.
And then when you're there, you're like,
Where's everybody?
where's everybody at? What y'all doing?
Yeah.
You know, but I had the same experience when I first moved here. Everybody wanted to hang out. Everybody wanted, like, I was out every weekend.
Yeah.
And it
Getting
slowed
lit,
down.
too.
I'm like, y'all want to hang out? What y'all doing?
Yeah.
So now I'm learning, like, this is where I live.
Yeah.
And I didn't want it to make it the same experience as Raleigh. I wanted to make it like, this is, like, I still go out. There's still more networking opportunities.
Yeah.
There's still a whole lot more opportunities here, which is why I'm like, I can see myself living here for a while. Because I just love the opportunity that it has.
Ooh,
Yes.
that's great. Well, I definitely want to talk more about your journey so far.
So good. That was so good.
We're going to jump into some rapid fire questions
Yes.
really quick and then get back to this because I really do want to hear more about just how you're enjoying DC so
Yes.
far. But
Okay.
we got some quick questions to get to know you a little bit more. Okay. Texting or talking?
Talking.
This is supposed to be rapid fire. Favorite day of the week?
Wednesday.
Favorite city in the U.S.?
I don't know if I have a favorite city. Right now it's DC.
Okay.
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 Nickname your parents used to call you?
Regine.
Regine.
My dad he still calls me Regine.
Where'd that come from? I'm curious.
Marrae, and my middle name is Jean, so Regine.
Oh, Regine.
My uncle called me Regine.
Oh, that's cute.
That is cute.
How long does it take you to get ready?
I'm working on time management, so it takes me a while, like probably an hour.
Okay.
Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad. That's
Yeah,
good.
about right.
What was the last song you downloaded?
Oh, Young Blue. I love Young Blue.
Is that a male or a female
It's a male.
artist? Oh, okay. I'm like, Young
Bad
Blue?
Little Vibe.
Bad Little Vibe. Oh, I haven't heard that one yet.
Yeah.
we need to play
He
that in the
sings
background.
that song. What is it about the if I ever that song? Is that the song?
Christian better come through with the vocals. First of all, it was the vocals for me.
Yeah,
no.
that's him.
That's him. Yes.
What type of like hip hop, R&B,
He's like
Christian?
an R&B mellow.
He's like an R&B rap.
Yeah.
I need Young Blue. All right,
yeah.
I'm gonna need to
He's
put that on
dope.
my playlist.
You should
Okay.
check him out. Okay.
Okay.
Who has it easier, men or women? It's tricky.
Well, I think it depends, but I would go with men.
Okay.
Depends on the situation.
At what age do you want to retire?
40.
Okay.
Yes. Ooh. Okay, I think that's a good
Yes.
place to transition at.
Yeah.
When we talk about retiring and retiring at 40, what does that look like for you? Like how are you working towards that? Because, as we know, most people don't retire until 70 plus, and nowadays it's like harder for people to retire. So,
Yeah.
what are you doing to get to that early retirement?
I'm focusing on multiple streams because real estate is great and all, but obviously the real estate market goes up and it goes down. But like that's my focus. But also tapping into I have investment properties. I do property management.
Okay.
I do notary. And working on some other things like trying to get monetize on YouTube and Instagram. So that's my goal. But as far as me retiring was like my number. I don't think I'll ever retire because I don't like just sitting around and being bored. So
Right.
I will always continue to
You're
work.
always gonna be working.
But I will have more options to be like, okay, I can choose whether or not I can work or not. So I think like once I net $1 million for me, other people's like once I hit like 5 million, 10 million,
Yeah.
whatever. But once I net, it's only me right now. Now this will change if I have like a husband or kids or whatever. But as right now it's just me.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to have the freedom to do as I please, and I'll take vacations or whatever the case may be. I have the option to do what I want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talk about lifestyle design a lot, and that reminds me of just designing your life with intention and knowing things like that. Like, when do I want to retire? Like, how do I make sure I'm setting up the things that I want to set up to do what I want?
Yeah.
We have to think about these things.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, I do have like some smaller goals in between. But 40 is right on the corner for me. I'm about to turn 36 soon, so like I'm knocking on 40.
Yeah, so you almost there,
you look
girl.
good,
Right.
girl. Cheers to that. Love that.
Oh yeah.
Wow, that's in like 4 years.
Yeah. So like I want to buy a house
Okay.
next year.
Okay.
Here in Maryland.
Okay.
Okay.
And then after that I want my Lambo.
Yes.
And then I'm retired. Well, it might be an Audi, but right now it's like I'm gonna shoot for the stars.
Nice. Go
So
ahead.
what has it been? Yeah, what has your journey been like for moving? I feel like all of us here have moved, and even with our guests from last week, we talked about moving. But just like I think that for me, I moved around a lot in my 20s, and now I'm in my 30s, and I'm a bit more settled in the DMV. I don't know if I'll move again, maybe. But what does it look like for you just having moved at this stage of your life, and what's that journey been for you? Kind of like reinventing who you are, in your journey through womanhood in a new city right now. It's been a few months for you, so how's that going?
You can keep it real. That was a deep sigh. It was like you were choosing what to say. But I want to encourage you, like, keep it real. So how is it really going for you?
It's tough. Honestly, I think when I moved here, I did think that it was going to be a whole lot different. Like I said, when in Pittsburgh, I was bored. And I do find myself still being bored. I'm a homebody, and I'm so used to being a homebody. So I'll sit in the house all day, all week. I'll go out and show houses and things like that. But it is tough.
Yeah.
To reinvent yourself in a new city. But thankfully, I do have a team that has helped me. Transition into. Just helping me push myself, like, helping me with a happy hour, helping me with buyer seminars, social media content. Like, they're really pushing and helping me, push myself, my brand, out there in the world. But overall, it has been a challenge, but I'm working through the kinks, and the more I'm here, the less time I spend running back home, the more I'm able to adjust. So, like, in the beginning, I found myself running back home a lot, but also I'm still managing business in Pittsburgh. And so that's also a challenge, too, where I have to find, thankfully, my family and I, we got on a consistent path of working together to help my business grow as long as theirs. So I don't have to run back as much to take care of my clients because my family has it.
Yeah, because your mom is a real estate agent as well.
My mom, my sister, my brother, and then my dad. He's a general contractor. So
Okay, yeah. So this is truly a family business.
Truly a family business.
Wow.
Yes.
Which is amazing.
Don't get it twisted. We love each other, but sometimes we can.
Yeah.
You know, it's family.
It's hard. Yeah,
it's family, right?
It is hard, but at the end of the day, like I trust my family more than anybody else. You know, my family is the one that definitely will have my back, especially my mom. My mom is the one, like, you know, she pushed all of us to get into real estate, but she's just so knowledgeable, and like, you know, there's sometimes she come to me to questions, and I sometimes go to her with questions, and sometimes be like, I don't know, you don't know, I don't know.
Yeah, that's real.
We have to figure this out.
That's real.
But like, there's no other, you know, person or family that I would trust in my own.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Are you the only one in your family that have license in several states, or?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, so where did that inspiration come from? Was it because you moved around, or that was something you always dreamed of?
Honestly, my family never even thought. I'm big on family. You know, like even with my extended family, I am big on family. Like I get on their nerves.
Okay.
They get on the family. Like I group text, hey, we doing this. You know, it's the holiday pajamas.
Yeah,
that girl.
Family vacations. Hey, this is what we're doing. Like I'm very big on family. So for when I moved officially to North Carolina, my mom was like, yeah, like.
What?
I don't see you staying this long.
Because you're gonna be away from us.
Yeah, because in North Carolina was a lot further than
DC. Yeah, because we're only 4
8
hours of a drive.
I think that's one of the other reasons why I didn't make it in Raleigh is because like I'm such a family person, and when I want to be there, and that's 8 hours drive. That was killing me.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I couldn't work on my business because I'm like, well, if I'm driving 8 hours, I'm staying like for 2 or 3 weeks.
Oh,
so
yeah.
that was
my
like,
gosh.
you know, so it just didn't work. But here, I'm only 3 hours away. My mom can say, hey, like we're having dinner for your dad's birthday. You coming in or not? I was like, yes.
Yeah.
You know, I'm coming in. I can go right back home the next day. Like it's a quick drive. I was driving out here every week back in February. So it's just it's easier. But as far as like me moving, I never thought I would move. But my initial first time moving was my best friend. She was like, what do I was bored. I had just went through a breakup, and again my life was just like I didn't know life without him. And then you know, my life was on repetition. Like it just working out, and I just was telling her like I don't know what to do, and she was like, well, it's not like you're going up and move. And I was like,
right.
I'm not going to do.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah, challenge accepted. So I was like, you know what? So the only place I knew where I had support was my cousin, and he lived in North Carolina, Raleigh, and I reached out to him, and he was like, yeah, come down. So I went and visited a couple times and had a great time, and ended up just moving down there in August of 2017, and was back home in May of 2018.
Yeah, it'd be like that. When that lease is up, you out.
Yeah. I was out, but you know, it was definitely an experience. I got to meet a whole lot of different people and agents. And the one thing that Pittsburgh does not have is a lot of black agents. And at the time, so me and my mom were like the handful of people, of black agents in Pittsburgh. And then when I moved to North Carolina, I seen a whole different culture, and I loved it. You know, I was around other black agents, and a lot of other like-minded agents that wanted to hustle and grind, and I was like, and being able to have conversations, because it's cool. Like my mom is an agent, and having conversations with her was cool. But you know, someone that's around the same age as you, and I'm like, wow, like this is different. I love it. And you know, I missed that when I moved down there. And back at home, like I didn't, you know, still when I moved back home, we didn't have that. I tried to start, you know, different groups to kind of bring other agents in. And then I kind of got tired of it, but then, you know, other black agents started coming on board, and then they started like the Black Excellence in Pittsburgh, and I was like, okay, but I still wanted more. You know, like I still wanted more networking opportunities, and me being out here, I was just like, why not?
Yeah.
So from Pittsburgh, you moved to Raleigh. And then from Raleigh, you went where? Here?
Back
to
home.
Pittsburgh.
Back
Back
home.
home.
Which is another good point about moving. You can always come back. I think I
Yeah.
speak to people sometimes who are like, well, what if I don't like it? Or you can just move back. Even if you move somewhere for a few months or a year,
Yeah.
just getting that experience and switching it up and taking the learning lessons can bring you so far.
Well, some people have a fear of, if I move back home, I failed.
Yeah.
Right. But
And
that doesn't mean you failed.
I wasn't a fail.
Yeah,
I,
no.
I literally experienced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and
Something you didn't like
Something
or
I
you
didn't
didn't
like.
see
And
yourself.
something and stuff that you did like.
Yeah. And stuff that
there's
you like.
There's no, you know,
Harm in it. Harm
harm in
foul.
moving
Yeah,
back home.
that doesn't mean you failed at life because you
No.
tried to move and you came back. Like, no.
I think it may look that way for us because we see like aunties and uncles move back and maybe like just within the Black community.
Yeah.
Some of those aunties and uncles are people who just like never, they didn't do anything in their life. Or they're the
Yeah.
aunties and uncles who never moved and yet you're still like doing the same thing in life. And it's like, we look at them like that would never be me.
Or who
you know?
literally moved back with their parents.
Yeah, move back, and that's
kinda
the
different.
thing. They
Yeah,
move back with the
exactly.
parents. They don't just move back.
Exactly.
But now you're living with your mom and your dad.
Right.
And that would never be me. So.
Right. That would never be me.
Well, no, I was saying.
my dad's like the Bill Cosby. He's like, no, you can't live here and that stuff. All of a sudden,
Really?
like, my bag's on the front porch. He's like, told her she couldn't move back.
Really?
But I mean, like, that's the thing. Like, my parents, like, my brother just moved back home. He wants to buy a house. He's like, listen, I want to move back home so I can buy a house. And my mom and dad's like, okay, but he's the favorite of the family. They don't want to admit it. But I moved back home several times throughout my journey. Like, I had an apartment, moved back home.
Yeah.
Moved back out, got an apartment, moved back home. I moved down to Raleigh, moved back home, got another apartment. Moved back home, bought my house, and then I've been out ever since. But when I moved to DC, because I rented my house out, I moved back home for a month.
Yeah.
But I was like, this is just a transition.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not-
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
It's a blessing to have that though too.
Yeah, it
It's just
is.
Yeah.
like, because I kind of have somewhat of a similar where I moved across the country and then I moved across the world and then came back home and then I moved to an apartment in DC and then I moved back to my parents' house. Then they sold their house and then I came here in Maryland and then they moved to Florida. But it was just like, sometimes you need that transitionary
you
period
do.
and it's a blessing, you know, to
That's
be able to have that.
It is a blessing. It's really about perception, you know, and it's such a blessing. There's no shame in my game to move back with my mama to this day if I had to. Because, you know,
Exactly.
I think also it's like how we choose to live in the same space together. We could be, you know, in the healthiest space and live together and not feel like, oh, that's my mom, that's my daughter, and just have like that kind of dynamic. But it's more of like, no, we're adults and, you know, we can thrive in this area, like in this space together and not feel like, oh, someone is like crippling the other or anything like that. So I say all that to say, like, as long as my relationship is good wherever I'm at,
Yeah.
I don't give a where I'm at or
Right.
who I'm living with. As long as we can thrive together, that's
Yeah.
all that
We have
matters
to
to
be
me, you
able to
know?
thrive.
That's important.
But I'm listening to your story and I hear my story in you, like everything that you're saying. I'm like, wow, that was me. I did a lot of moving myself. And on our last week episode, a guest lived in Atlanta. I also lived in Atlanta. You say you lived in Raleigh. I lived in Raleigh as well. I was born in Roanoke Rapids, North Carolina. You probably never ever heard of us. But we're closer to like Rocky Mount, North Carolina.
I do know where that is.
Yeah, I know. So we're closer to Rocky Mount, North Carolina, but I was raised in Virginia.
Okay.
I finished high school in North Carolina, and then I met my daughter's father. We got married, and we moved to Raleigh, and I lived there for about 2 years maybe.
Okay.
And then from there, Atlanta. But then after that, girl, that's a conversation for a different day. That's when I began to move everywhere. But like yourself, I could relate to the drive. I don't know if I was ever like a family kind of girl where I needed to be around my family, but there were times, especially during like special occasions, where I wanted to be around them. So taking that drive, I get it, like from Atlanta to North Carolina. And I was just telling my partner last night, I was like, during the holidays, I remember growing up where like yourself, like because you live so far away, when you went home, you would go there for like a week. So around my birthday, in March of every year, when I was living in Atlanta, I would go home, I would stay there for like a week. I'm like, this is vacation week for me. And they'd be like, girl, you ain't got no job staying out here for a week. I was like, I don't know how I'm making it happen. But I would go and I would want to go home and stay there for a week because it's like, one, the drive, but two, like, I just miss y'all and I want to be around y'all. And I ain't going to see y'all no time sooner too. So, but yeah, listening to you and your story, like I said, it just reminds me so much of myself. I am curious to know though, like, what is the thing that you, because it sounds like you're thriving professionally, and I'm not taking away how you're thriving also personally, but like you not finding happiness in the places that you have lived. Like, what is the thing that you personally enjoy that maybe if you haven't already like started doing that thing or looking for that here, that can possibly, you can possibly find that here to maybe keep you here longer, if
That's
possible.
a good question.
You know what? When I moved to Raleigh, I was into fitness, but I wasn't heavy into fitness at the time. I got heavy into fitness in 2019, and I had a gym family, workout partners, and a group of people who I confide in when it came to working out. And like the gym is life for me. Like that is my emotional support.
Yeah.
That is my my out. So when I go somewhere and I can feel like I'm at home, I feel comfortable. So my homegirl out here, she was going to Gold's Gym at Ritchie Station, and before I even moved up here, like when me and her met, I would come to DC and visit. She would take me to the gym. I was like, oh, this is a whole different.
Yeah.
And then when I moved up here, I was like, okay, well, she was a person in the fitness world that, I know very well. And I wanted to get back into that fitness family.
Yeah.
So going to Gold's, like, I meet so many different people. Everybody's so welcoming, supportive. And, I found like my gym home, and so like that's where
it's a big part of you
that's
feeling rooted here.
Part.
Yeah. And you make me want to switch my gym membership because we talked about this. We both also go to LA Fitness, and then you told me, and also a few other people told me how Goals just feels more family oriented. So in me, because we talk about how like at LA Fitness, people don't really talk to each other like that. And I feel like that too. And so me hearing from her and a couple other people, I'm like, I think I want to switch on over and come to Gold.
I mean, it's literally like at LA Fitness, you have a couple, people at the front desk who are like, hey.
Yeah.
But like no one in the
it's just
gym,
a different environment.
Talks.
Yeah.
Like, at LA Fitness from back home, people talk. But here it was just like, you don't talk.
Yeah, I haven't really made any gym friends going to LA Fitness.
In LA, in
the Golds.
I mean, you walk in, hey.
Yeah, everybody's saying,
hey. It's like everybody.
It's like Chick-fil-A service at Gold's Gym. Oh gosh, I love Chick-fil-A.
It's a pleasure
service.
to have you here.
Right, it's my pleasure. Thank you.
Do you need anything else?
Everybody's so like, no one's in competition. For me, it feels like no one's in competition. Someone will come up to me like, "Yeah, I love your legs," and I'm like, "Thank you." Like she's yelling across over the balcony, "I love your legs." I'm like, "Oh, thank you."
I am crying right now. Thank you. Wait, in no way is Gold's Gym sponsoring this episode.
Not at all.
But
so this is a genuine endorsement.
I'm just saying.
They need to run that check.
Okay, run that check.
She gonna put y'all on.
She got you. Whatever your core values look like, she got you. Wow.
Oh my gosh. No, I do love that too. And so in addition to just this gym family, like what are some of the other things that you do? Because we've talked about this before of just like our routines to pour into ourselves, and we're managing, trying to grow our businesses, but also just trying to root ourselves in our spirituality and our self-love. So what are some of those other things that you're doing to make sure that you are really blossoming into the woman that you want to be?
Absolutely.
And setting that foundation, for that retirement, for that the millions that you want to get to. Yeah, what does that look like too?
I've been reading a lot more, and then listening to more podcasts. Just podcasts about friendships, relationships, God. Really praying and reading devotions. really just tapping into that because obviously I can't grow without him.
Yeah.
And I just want to make sure that, he's at the forefront of anything that I do. And now I'm trying not to make any type of other moves, just in general. It could be something little.
Without him.
And I'm making sure that I pray first to make sure
that's so
it's
good.
something that I should be doing.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be in a place where I'm vulnerable, I'm upset, the expectation isn't there. And I think, things still don't work out as you plan, but at least if I go into it with the mindset of, okay, put God first.
Yeah.
And God will reveal like what that situation, if I should make a move or not.
Oh, yeah.
So that has helped me like grow as a person. And also like, I am new here, so I'm still learning, how to build my business in a new city. I do know people, but a lot of people know real estate agents. So it's like, okay, I have to brand myself in such a way that's unique to other, like, okay, like that's something different. Like, you do something different. So
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I'm still working on that. Like I'm in Pittsburgh. I was a big fish in a small pond. Here, I'm a small fish in a large pond. So now
everybody's an agent here.
Yeah, so I have to figure out a way to make myself unique to where I can stand out and someone says, oh, I want to use her. That's dope what she does, or whatever the case may be. So that's what I'm working on.
And that takes guts. That takes guts to come to a city that is popping. There's so many, realtors here already, and you are deciding, I am going to still make it. I'm going to do what I need to do to stand out. This is not going to scare me because I am a smaller fish, as they might say. Yeah. But you're determined and dedicated to making a name for yourself, which I love that, because that is scary to do.
It is scary, but at the same time, like, I'm just as good as
you are.
No, for sure.
Yeah, you are.
I'm
that.
Just as good. I've been doing it for 10 years. Like, you can't tell me otherwise. Like, my confidence is up there. However, I still gotta work my ass off to get there.
Right.
So, but I'm working and I'm maintaining. I have the support of my team. And I'm going to get there. I still have my goals of being, top producing agent and top Real Producers magazine, and getting on stage with Gary Keller, who's the owner of Keller Williams. Like, I still have all those goals that I'm going to accomplish.
Of course,
I just have to do.
So I feel it. I'm getting chills right now because I see that for you, and I know you're gonna be there. Like, I feel it, and I'm excited for you to get there. I know you got it in you for sure.
I know.
Just from our conversations, I know it's gonna happen, and I appreciate what you said about making sure that you're keeping God first, because that's something that I'm trying to work on. And you just saying that just kind of reminded me that I want to spend more time with God in my decision making as well too, because that's everything.
No, for
that's
sure.
Everything.
For sure. And it doesn't require much or take much time to even do that. Like you say, even if it depends. It's really about where your heart is postured. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, as long as your heart is postured to say, God, like, I want to do this with you, even if you don't sometimes say it, like, or all the time say it out loud. If your heart is postured, I believe that He will go before you and He will do things on your behalf for you, So
I journal.
I'm glad you said that.
A lot.
Yeah.
I journal a lot.
I love
I
journaling.
have journals. Like, I think I started journaling back in 2016. I started maybe like before then, and I looked over my journal and how I prayed and things I prayed for. We don't actually realize that sometimes our prayers are being answered and we don't even realize it. And then I'll go back and read certain passages that I wrote down or whatever, and I'm like, yeah, you did you
did that.
Yeah, so it's like, and then you can see how your mind has changed and evolved, and just how you're writing and what you're praying for and how you're praying. And the more you read the scriptures and the more understanding you have, the different in what you're asking for and how you're asking.
Oh, yes.
So that's my journey right there. It's just learning how to really ask for the things that I want in the way God wants me to ask.
Yes.
No,
right.
Girl.
Because you might get something that you asked for, and it's like, you asked for this, but then it's like, oh, wait, but I forgot to tweak, or it's the nuances, too. So you get more adept at just learning those nuances as you grow and as you evolve and as you reflect.
Yep.
I love journaling too and reading back over. Ooh, the growth, just acknowledging that growth.
Yep.
Ooh,
I remember when I prayed. Oh God, you brought me through.
brought
I don't
me
know how you
through.
did it, but you done brought me through.
Wow, you said in the way
Facts.
that you want me to ask.
Yeah.
That's
God
what
wants
makes
us to be good at asking questions, asking the right thing.
Yeah.
that's the difference. You know what I mean? Like, girl, and I think also it depends on like what level you may be at in your relationship with God. Some of us are newborns in Christ. Some of us have experienced it, backslide, came back, and then, I mean, there are some that have more wisdom. Let me say that. But to hear you say in the way that you want me to ask, because it's easy for someone, and this is just my own opinion, but someone that's a newborn, they will come in maybe asking God to do things in the way that they need it to be done, not knowing that someone with more wisdom would say, no, but baby, I think you should take a little bit more time and ask God in the way that he needs you to ask. Like, and that I believe that's what he wants.
Yeah.
And I was listening to this one pod, and they were sharing, I can't think of the girl name right now. She's so big on social media. When I think about it, I'll drop it in chat, y'all. But she was saying that a lot of times people will read the Bible and relate a lot of passages based off of their life. When if you, I guess, grow more wisdom or have more maturity, you will understand that, a lot of those passages it's the passage. It's what that person went through in life. And sometimes it's not written for us to say, oh, how can I relate to this? And then twist it and make it about me, but actually take it for what it is, because this is what God's people wrote, and this is what he wants us to know about it when it comes to him.
Right.
And that's just that. It doesn't always have to do with us, if that makes sense, and pastors would get in the pulpit and say, what is, like, let me have faith the size of a mustard seed. Okay, that's a very popular scripture, and there's nothing wrong for any of us to have faith the size of a mustard seed. But in the passage of where it was written, it was for that disciple to have faith the size of a mustard seed for that situation. And I think, if you guys are understanding what I'm saying, like, it's a different type of perception and appreciation to just be like, wow, God, you did that for them, and it has nothing to do with me. And that's just constantly like giving him the praise that he deserves. Whether you do this thing for me or not, the fact that this is what you've done, like, that separates, I feel like, someone that is kind of like reading the word selfishly versus someone who's reading the word just to honor him and just to get to know him, if that makes sense.
No,
what I
that
just
makes
said.
I kind of follow.
I mean, like, you're going to God not being selfish just for
Right.
you.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to be like, well, God, why didn't you bless her with it, man? Why didn't you
Yeah,
bless me with
exactly.
it?
Right.
Like you said, you have to look at it like, wow, God, continue to bless that relationship.
Yes.
Because, I know mine is coming and I'm not even worried about it.
Yes.
So continue to bless them in their season.
Yeah.
Right.
So
And
that's
you get to look at him like, you did that. Like, it's just so much appreciation for someone that doesn't even do something. Imagine that. Imagine having appreciation for someone who don't do nothing for you at all. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's easy for us, especially this day and time, to express gratitude for something, to someone for them doing something for us. But imagine just expressing gratitude for someone that don't even do nothing for you.
Ooh,
Where?
Right.
What corner they standing on?
I'm grateful for what you did in their life.
In
and
their
I don't
life.
even,
And
I'm
I
not
ain't
even
got
connected.
nothing to do with that.
Right. But I think in that sense, how you're like, it doesn't have anything to do with my life, but you can still kind of apply it in a way that it's just like, I can be grateful and also believe that
It can happen for me.
it can happen for me, and God can do the same thing for me. And that faith of that mustard seed, I can apply it to my life and not worry about, when is my time coming? It's gonna come.
It's gonna come.
You see it happen.
Yeah.
Like this same person, you may not know, but that same person was probably praying the same prayer.
That
And
were
you
praying.
witness God's grace. You witness God's blessing.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, God, I see you doing some things, and it may not, I may not see it in my life right now, but I see you doing it in other people's lives.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's possible.
It's kind of like just appreciating all that he does.
Yeah.
All that he does.
It's possible.
Yeah. You shared earlier too, again, just kind of going with real estate girl. You got your license everywhere. So for those that are interested in getting into real estate or are already agents themselves, but want to get licensed in other areas, what is some advice you would give to someone who wants to have license in different states? What advice would you give to them as far as like how to manage their business from afar when you can't be so hands-on because you live in DC, but you have license in Texas, or you live in Raleigh, but you have license in Pittsburgh. I was going to say Pennsylvania. So like, what some advice would you give, whether it be systems, resources, team, whatever?
In full transparency, I don't do business in North Carolina anymore. I have referring partners. So anytime I do get leads, I'll send it to North Carolina.
Okay.
Same with Texas. PA, DC, and Maryland are the three main ones that I focus on. And for me, I would say it's been a challenge, don't think it's easy. However, it's doable. You just have to have the right systems, the right tools, and the right partnership in place. Thankfully, I have my family that can help me, but that wasn't even easy as well. Like we've all gone through like some issues like commission and splits and how we're going to manage this client versus that client. So it was a challenge. So it's not easy, but you definitely have to have the right people in place to help you execute the plan that you have. I was listening to this podcast, this agent from Atlanta. She was a big agent in Atlanta and then went and got licensed in Dubai. She moved to Dubai, still has a team in Atlanta. So she's still managing both markets, but she has a solid team that has a solid system in place, so she can still operate and have generate business in both locations. So I'm working towards that. And anybody that's getting licensed or wants to get licensed in other states, just have a plan. Fail to plan, plan to fail. Right?
Yep.
We literally just said that.
So you have to, plan out how do you see and what does this look like for you. And that's what I had to do. Was plan it out and see what it looked like and how I can make it work. And so far right now it's working.
That's
good.
good.
It didn't work in the beginning.
Yeah.
But now it's like we have a good system going. And it's now starting to flourish the way I need it to flourish.
Nice.
And that is such sound advice for any business. So even if you're not in real estate, because I'm currently going through the same thing in my business where it's all about the people and it's all about the systems.
Yeah.
And as I'm expanding my business, we have more responsibilities. I have more workload, but I need the right people in place. So I'm finding them and delegating and having to manage that, but also build the back end systems for myself to organize and to communicate and to keep track of everything. And it's definitely not easy, but though that is what it takes. Like if you want to get to that next level, if you want to generate that wealth, if you want to expand, you have to focus on people. You have to focus on systems. Like, period.
If it was easy, everybody would be doing it.
Exactly.
So
you want to get to the next level, you got to do that.
And focus. That's all you need. Prayer and focus and grind. Put some grind behind that prayer.
You're right. You got to do it. You got to get the work done. Like, it's just stuff that has to be done. That's this kind of season that I'm in my life of just like, I have to set these systems up, and it takes time. It takes energy, effort. It's just manual work, but it has to be done. And once you do it, that sets you up to kind of just be able to kind of just like coast a little bit more because you have all that in place. Or if not necessarily coast, to then expand to get to that next level. And it's either one. Some people don't necessarily need the multi-millions or multiple cities, but even if you don't want that, you can have more time on your hands because you have these systems and you have the team in place. So maybe you want to relax more, and that's fine if that's what you want to do. But to get to that level, you got to set up that foundation so that you're not just grinding all by yourself
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
trying to get all the answers on your own.
And a lot of people think like, oh, I can do it on my own. You grow when you have support. You grow when you have a
Absolutely.
team. You know, you can't do it by yourself because I mean, it's just not. I mean,
Yeah.
eventually, somewhere you're gonna plateau.
Right.
And you're gonna need to find that support to help you get further.
Right.
So that's why they always say like, you know, you don't grow by yourself. There's always a team involved to help you get to that next stage.
And I don't even want to do anything on my own. Like, I know maybe for some people, they find it hard to find the right people to partner with,
Yeah.
which is it's its own challenge for sure. Whether you're dealing with friends, family, or people who aren't your friends or family, you're just working together. Either way you spin it, it can be hard. But that's just something that you have to navigate through because the option to do it alone is not an option.
No.
It's not an option. So work on finding the right people and identifying what it is that you need in a team and what you bring to a team and how can you share resources too. But doing it by yourself is not the answer. It's just never the answer.
No,
Even if some partnerships dissolve or some team members you don't necessarily gel with, well, figure out what you need to do to get those people in place because we can't do this on our own.
No, we can't. We can't. You can't. Wow, that was so good. That
know.
was.
Wow.
Would you like to talk about some things that we've been real lifing lately?
I would, yes. Let's get. I know we have to transition out.
Yeah.
I would love to speak more, but yeah, let's talk about what we've been real lifing. So that's just kind of like what we're up to now, what we're immediately like working on, calling into our lives and developing in our lives. So I'll start with Eb though. What are you real lifing right now?
Oh gosh, what am I real lifing right now? What am I calling into my life? I don't know. Come back to me. Let me think on it. Because I like how you ask, like, what are we calling into our life?
Well, honestly, what I'm real lifing right now is exactly what we were just talking about. So in my business, I am growing and expanding the services that I offer. And that means I have to put more people in place to do the work. So that's kind of what I'm real lifing is management, team leadership, you know, just like the systems. For example, I use a tool called Asana to manage my team. So I'm just trying to build out like how I set up my projects and assigning tasks to team members, finding the right team members to do different tasks and making sure that I'm communicating at a level where they understand exactly what to do. Because I feel like all that responsibility is on me. As a leader, I have to be the communicator. I can't just expect people to read my mind and know what I want them to do. So it's communicating, managing them, setting up the systems, and finding the right people to deliver quality work. That's what I'm real lifing right now.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Would you like
what
to
about
go?
you?
For me, it's my Pittsburgh business. You know, I want it to grow because I don't know if I mentioned, I work with athletes as well. And I did.
Shout out to the Steelers, Pittsburgh Steelers. We might be losing right now at this moment. We're not gonna talk about that. Anyway.
Look, don't give me a heart attack already.
I know, right?
They always giving us a heart attack.
I know.
No, but I want all of my business to grow at this. I mean, they're going to grow at different levels, but grow together. Because, like I said, I do property management. I do notary. I have my athletes, and then I do have my real estate. And you know, my family can't manage it all and their own. So I'm in the same boat as far as having somebody, you know, more of a transaction coordinator that can handle like the paperwork side for my property management. The paperwork side for my real estate, so my sister can just focus on showing the properties. Some properties, because she shows the properties on the west of Pittsburgh, and then I have another agent that shows the properties on the east of Pittsburgh. And my sister already told me, she's like, I ain't going all the way. Like, all right.
Yeah, you see, that's a system right there. You need somebody for the east, somebody for the west, somebody to handle this.
Both.
So
love it.
That person handles my east side property management business and properties, and then I am looking to expand it more, but I just need to get everything else on a systemized basis before I grow it even more. Because now, like, once we get on a system type, everything's going and smoothly as it should, then I'll be able to bring on more help, you know, to adjust. So.
Oh yes,
Okay.
that's great. You doing it. You doing it,
Yeah, I
girl.
got a lot of feedback, but we can share. We can discuss that after. But yes, that's great. So, what I am calling in my life right now is, as again, I'm new in the real estate industry, as an agent. So right now, I'm just focusing on being a student in this business, and just learning like the ins and outs in it. And I'm okay with that, but I also want to really focus on like how to grow as well. Like at first coming in, I had the idea of growing my business with Fifth and Westwood and offering like interior designing services and seeing that take off, being an agent as well, like simultaneously.
Yeah.
But I'm learning like maybe that might not be a possibility right now, and I have to be okay with that. So I'm just like really calling in, like just really understanding this industry, being a student in it all, and you know, just taking my sweet time with that and being okay with that, you know, and yeah, that's just pretty much what I'm
Because
doing
you're not gonna
right
be an
now.
expert overnight.
No, you're not.
You're not.
But I will say this. I'm very education based, and I love to teach, and I love to teach other agents because I just like, you know, I just love being a resource to people. The apartment complex actually allowed me to do a buyer seminar here.
Ooh.
Oh, nice.
So if you want to come and join in, you're more than happy, more than well. I just want to, you know, that way you can learn how to do a buyer seminar and
Nice.
things like that.
Aww.
November 30th.
Okay.
Here, in the clubhouse.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, they were like, yeah, we're looking to, you know, do. I was like, okay, bet.
Yeah.
So if you like, I'm always open, you know, even before or after that to, you know, help in any area that you need help with.
Absolutely. Oh, thank you. I accept that. Thank you, girl. And I think another thing, I just want to put this out there in the universe, and girl, maybe you have an answer for this one too. But also, like, again, being new, and I have such a strong brand presence online already with my company. I'm having to figure out how can I show up as like my government name basically, and be able to separate myself, but at the same time bring the best of my both worlds together. And it's very hard because, like you said, there's like tons of us out here in this pond, and I'm trying to identify, well, what separates me from the rest. And
Don't separate you in your business, or you don't do it. So people, are you saying like this and then
no,
your other business?
with my other business, I don't necessarily want to separate the business, but like my identity online is Ebony Westwood. That's not my government name, so of course I can't like use Ebony Westwood on my license. I have to use my government name. But so when it comes to like advertising, real estate, and all those things, I can't say, oh, you know, like I can't post it under Ebony Westwood account because then it'll, I guess, be illegal and confuse the people. So I'm having the hardest time trying to figure out my new identity in this real estate world, and me just being like really heavy on branding. I'm like, it gotta make sense to people who already know who I am and support me, but also make sense to me and to the new people who will come along on this new journey with me. And it's just like the hardest thing for me to really figure it out right now.
I think we can talk about more, but I think it's easier than what you think.
I do too.
Yeah,
I do too.
because
I think you just got to start showing up with the real estate stuff, and I think it'll make sense. It's not going to be like, what, confusing.
But
Yeah.
Because
But do you understand what I'm saying as far as like the name part of it? And
do you want your name to? Do you want that to stand out in your real estate? Because you can.
what, Ebony Westwood?
Use Ebony Westwood.
Absolutely. I do not want my government. I know I can, but there's a process to that too, and it's just like, damn, I don't really want to go through that process with the paperwork and
there's a different
stuff.
process, like legally, than there is a process on social media.
Oh, see, and I'm only being told the legal way. I don't know anything about how can I do this on
is
social media.
You can do pretty much
Whatever
you want on social media, but on the legal side, I mean.
Yeah, on the legal side, I don't want it on the legal side. I just want it like for social media
social
purposes.
Media, you can definitely
Woo! I'm glad I called that out. Because, baby, that would definitely help me with my business for sure. So,
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Support me. I support you, girl. We there with it. I'm excited. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank
All right,
you.
y'all. Well, our producer has to bounce, so we're gonna go. We can sit here and talk for a long time, but
Yeah.
yes, we have to let our producer go. He has to get on the road. But I want to thank you, Marrae, for joining us so much. This was such a great convo.
Definitely a great conversation.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm looking forward to both of y'all ladies' growth in real estate, and for mine in the future of real estate too. We're gonna call that
out too.
Yes, but thank you so much, y'all, for tuning in. Please tune back in for our next episode. And yes. And with that, that's a wrap. Make sure you guys follow us at the RLE Pod on Instagram.
Yes.
And anything else you want to add, Ab?
No. Yeah, follow us at the RLE Pod on Instagram. Make sure you check out our hashtag Real Life Everything and the RLE Pod. And we look forward to seeing you guys next week.
And we love y'all.
You. Mean it.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of the Real Life Everything podcast.
Yes, make sure you use our hashtags on social media, the RLE Pod and Real Life Everything.
And don't forget to follow us on all platforms. We're on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at the RLE Pod.